Good morning, everybody. My name is Ammar Nahya. First, I would like to thank Verney Capital and the organizers of this event for inviting me and giving me the chance to speak. I come from a company called Jain Engineering. We're a specialized engineering company, and we do green building design and sustainability consultants. We're the sustainability consultant for Talant Towers in Astana, and today's presentation is going to revolve a little bit around Talant Towers. I've been lucky to work on sustainability projects for the last 15 years. I've done some of the first sustainable projects in Canada, in China, and I'm a founding member of the Green Building Council in Jordan. So I've been educating people, talking to people about sustainability and green buildings for quite a bit of time. And today I hope I can transfer some of those principles and ideas to you so you can be convinced about why is sustainability important and why is green buildings make a difference in our life, and why did Talant Tower decide to go green against all odds available in the market. The last 15 years have seen many ups and downs in the economy. We've gone through high booms where investors made millions and trillions of money, and we've gone through bad times and economy crisis. People have learned few lessons. One of the most important lessons we've learned in the last 15 years is that the people who get hurt the most are small and medium business owners. Big companies always have diversified portfolios, they do different things, so they can survive and ride the wave during bad economy times. However, small and medium businesses, always when the economy crisis hits, the first thing they start doing is selling everything they have because they want to cover as much expenses as they can. Eventually they panic and they go bankrupt. How can sustainability help them? This is what we're going to talk about today. Why is sustainability so important to increase the effectiveness of your business and to increase the efficiency of your employees? I've done my presentation today around a small story, a short story that I would like to talk to you about. It's about an imaginary person called Brad Pittsburgh. Brad has been in business for almost 25 years. He has his own company, and he has been running it so successfully. But now he knows and realizes that it's time to move on and improve on his business. So he decided to look for another office space. Brad knows that the office space itself is important. However, there are other elements that Brad always looks for and wants to make sure that all the other elements are there in that office space he wants to rent are available. While looking, someone told him about Talant Towers, and they said, you have to go check out that building. It looks very nice, and it's in Astana, that's where you want to establish your business, so go look at it. Before Brad goes into Talant Towers, go to the marketing team, ask him about the office space itself, he checks the surroundings of the building. One of the things Brad had difficulties with previously was public transportations. In 2008, when the economic crisis hit, Brad had to sell his Toyota Prius to cover some of his expenses, and he had to take public transportation from home to the office and vice versa at the evening. So he checked around Talant Towers. He found out that there is lots of public transportation stops available around Talant Towers. Those bus stops would help him and his employees, his staff, to go back and forth to work at low cost without having to actually spend more money on fuel or spend more time in the cars. Next item was his residence. Brad knows how important it is to live close to office. And Sergio talked about big cities and how the new generation like to live nearby the office so they can walk, they can use public transportation for a short distance, and that's what he was looking for, and he found that around Talant Towers as well. So that's Brad walking. And that's Brad taking the bus. The other concern Brad has was his family. He has 2 kids, he is happily married, and he wanted to make sure that his kids can go back and forth to school without worrying about their transportation and their safety. He found that there are nearby schools that his kids can cycle to and back to the house without being worried about them. Mixed-use development. This is a term we've been hearing for the last almost 5 to 10 years. Everybody's talking about mixed-use developments, mixed-use projects, but what does that exactly mean? There are rating systems around the world that have defined what a mixed-use development is. A mixed-use development has to have a certain number of services around you within a walking distance to be considered a true mixed-use development. So Brad knows that, and he wanted to look at what's around Talant Towers. He found, actually, when we did the research, and this is something amazing about Astana, there are hundreds of services around Talant Towers. There are hundreds of services everywhere in Astana when you go. It's such a mixed-use city that you can find and reach services easily without having to travel long distances. So Brad can drop off his child to the child care center and on his way to the office. He can also pick up the groceries on the way back to the house. And in the weekends and holidays, he can take his family to the nearby park. All that within a walking distance for Brad and his family, or cycling for his kids to school. So what does that mean? Why are we talking about Brad, his family, his groceries, his childcare? Why is that important for sustainability? Why is that important for Brad to decide whether he wants to use this office space or another? What is it that makes it so efficient and so appealing for Brad? Well, first of all, he's saving time. Being close to the office, being able to get all his services that he needs within a short distance and a short time saves him time. I know some people, I used to live in Toronto, Canada, and I know some people who spend 4 hours every day commuting, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, just going back and forth. Those 4 hours can be best used if your home is close to your office. If you spend only 15 or 20 minutes commuting instead of 2 hours, that's 1.5 or 1 hour and 45 minutes extra for you per day, either to spend it with your family, have a better social life, or spend more time in the office developing your business. Sustainability, sustainable communities, they encourage walking, they encourage cycling, they encourage open spaces. All these are factors that make us healthier, and it reduces our expenditure on healthcare and on medication. Now, all these items are excellent. They were all on Brad's checklist. He checked them. Now it was time for him to look inside the office. What does that office space have to offer him? Before we go into the office, I have to say there are rating systems, international rating systems, that consider sustainable sustainable communities and how they should be rated. Some of those features that Brad looked for are the most important indicators on these rating systems in North America and Europe that they use to rate new designs of master plans for sustainable communities and better cities. He goes to Talant Tower marketing team and say, guys, what do you have to offer me? What do you have that is different than other buildings? I've heard your building is green. So what does that mean? Well, one of the things Brad knows about is daylight. We all understand and love to be in the outdoors all the time, simply because we like to get as much as sunlight as possible. It's healthier for us, it's better for our eyes, and it also saves money on lighting. See, not as many lights are turned on here, and we can still see each other because we have plenty of daylight coming from the window. Brad knows that, and the facade design in Talant Towers gave him that. Next thing was being able to view to the outside, being able to see nature, city views, simply to see the sky is something that makes people happier and more comfortable within the workspace. Indoor air quality, and we're going to talk more details about indoor air qualities in a few minutes, but when Brad asked the marketing team in that building, how is your ventilation? And when he checked the designs, because he knows about engineering, he found out that the ventilation design and the ventilation rates were almost 3 to 4 times higher than those dictated by North American and European standards. Honestly, I was amazed when I saw the design the first time. I argued that it's not required, but the leaders of the project said, no, we want that. We want better environment, indoor environment for the people, and we want people to be able to breathe better. Well, you're going to be breathing lots of oxygen in the land towers. My colleague here talked about technology and how important it is for new businesses. Well, if you have all the elements and all the field devices that Microsoft can give you, and the projectors that you can buy, and the video conferencing that's available in the market, the latest ones, the best ones, and the most expensive ones, but you do not have the infrastructure inside the building to connect you to the outside world, they're useless. Brad made sure that this building has the state-of-the-art backbone and infrastructure for all his IT requirements, and it did. Finally, he checked how can he control the environment of the office, how can he control temperature, humidity, how he can control amount of air going in or out, turn on and off equipment, and he found out that he can do that with a state-of-the-art building management system, and he can connect to it remotely from home as well. Most of us think that pollution comes from cars and factories. It does. But is it the most important pollutant source? Or is there something that we haven't looked at before and we missed? Well, researchers have proven that pollutants coming from this room is 2 to 5 times more than the pollutants coming from outdoors, from cars and from factories. Because this carpet produces pollutants, the paints we use produce pollutants, ceilings, furniture that we're sitting in, all these items that we use in our indoor environment that we don't pay attention to are producing pollutants. Green rating systems around the world have decided to put an end to this. They've determined limits of how much pollutants each of our indoor elements are allowed to emit. Because we want to be healthier people, we have to look at the indoors before we look at the outdoors. And believe me, I've been in buildings that you can just be inside the space and feel that the pollutants there are 100 times worse than a car smoke coming out in the street. Smoking, Talan Towers, when Brad went to check what their smoking policy was, he found out that they have prohibited smoking all over the project. You cannot smoke inside Talan Towers. This was very important for Brad because he's looking after the health of his employees. And we keep talking about employees and staff and why is daylight is important, why is indoor environment is important. We're going to touch on that in a few minutes if you allow me. Also, the marketing team in Talan Towers have prepared a very comprehensive explanation for tenants. How can they develop and how can they make their buildings or their spaces, office spaces, more efficient and better, can score a better value on energy and environmental leadership score. We keep saying staff, employees. Researchers, and I'm sure many of you are business owners, know that the biggest ticket on your books is salaries and benefits to the employees. It's much higher than your rent, it's much higher than your energy expenses. It's the highest one in any books in any company that has an office. I'm not talking about factories or industries that use robots and do not have staff. I'm talking about people who use offices. So we have to focus. I'm not saying we don't have to look at energy. We don't have to look at other costs. But since employees are the biggest cost, we have to look at that and try to make it more efficient and more productive. There were many studies done by the World Green Building Council, by the World Health Organization, by many other independent organizations about the effect of green buildings and the environment, indoor environment on people and on staff. And it's been proven many, many times that you can increase the productivity and you can increase the efficiency of your employees by just being inside a green building. That doesn't only make them happier, but makes them more productive, which means your business becomes more profitable and becomes more efficient, which means, again, you can lower your costs or you can increase your production capacity. In Talant Towers, when we did the analysis, we found out that initially we're going to save 20% on utilities, on energy cost, and 40% on water. This is a huge saving compared to other buildings similar to Talant Towers that are not green. So that was all what Brad was checking around around the office space, and he wanted to make sure that this office space has to offer. But don't forget Brad's wife, Angelina Josephine. Angelina works for one of those big IT companies, and she has to travel a long distance from home to her company. She doesn't actually have to be inside the office every day, but because she has no other alternative, she's making the trip anyhow, going back and forth every day. The other alternatives that Angelina would be looking for would be a live-work type of apartment. I'm sure Sergio touched on that before. And a live-work environment in the apartment means that you have dedicated area for work that is equipped with all your needs to connect your company and your clients without having to leave the house. The other one was virtual office setup. She couldn't find any virtual office setup around the area, so she also had to make the trip every day. If they had those two, then his wish list would be complete. However, his wish list was almost complete. These two factors were not important because it's the wife who has to make the travel, not himself. And he decided to go and get that office space because it was the most suitable he's seen. So sustainability, the triple bottom line. This is what we've been calling triple bottom line for the last 12, 13 years. People use it in a different way, but it's always about three factors: people, planet, and most importantly to me and to everybody else is money. How much money do I save? How much money do I have to spend less? It's nice to have healthier people. It's nice to have happier people. It's nice to give our next generations, and we've talked about next generations a few minutes ago, a better planet and greener planet. But really, we're human beings. And at the end of the day, we think about our best interest, which is saving more money or gaining more money. This is all good. We've got a green building within a semi-green or sustainable community, but do we stop there? Why not look at the bigger picture? The more green buildings we have in our city and our communities, the less energy we need, the less water we need, the less utilities we need, which means we have less requirements for infrastructures. We have healthier people, so we have less demand on healthcare from the government. What does that do? It reduces the budget for the government on infrastructure and healthcare, which means, hopefully, that reduction or those savings are transferred to us, the people, to Brad. It reduces his taxes and his fees that he pays. Well, if green buildings are so good and sustainability is so good, why doesn't everyone do it? We have challenges everywhere. When we start a new thing, Microsoft is starting a new thing and everybody is questioning it. Is it the right thing to do? Do I have to spend money on this? What are the challenges and why do we face them? Well, first of all, green technology or green concept is a new concept. People don't like new concepts in general. They fight them and they try to stay away from them simply because they don't understand them. When green technology started, it started in North America and in Europe. And most of the culture built around that was suitable for these regions. So when we take it in different regions, people don't find it so suitable for them and they shy away from them. Political pressure. We all know about Copenhagen. We know about the different standards that were put internationally to force countries and regions to follow certain standards to preserve the environment. So if you're living in a place where policies and legislations are done and put to preserve the environment, you would be lucky because you will get more green buildings. People don't understand it because simply they think it's more expensive. When Talant Towers hired us, we asked them, why do you want to go green? And they say, because of all the benefits, blah, blah, blah. They did not care about the cost. And whenever we talk about sustainability, we always advise our clients, if it doesn't make sense, if it's not feasible, do not do it. Simple. If it's going to cost you 10% of your budget, don't do it. If it's going to cost you 2% more of your budget, maybe we'll think about doing it. We always try to make sustainability cost effective for the owner and make the initial cost as little as possible. Designers and consultants and contractors and suppliers, we encourage them all to come together so they can understand where the project's going to go and look at the bigger picture all the time. Educating contractors so they do not cost you more, they do not cost you more time or more money. Materials, and when we talk about materials, we talk about market transformation, availability of materials that are good for green building projects. Cultural challenges, and maybe this is one of the biggest challenges we always face. When I did one of the projects in Saudi Arabia, they say, you want us to ride bicycles in Saudi Arabia when it's 50 degrees outside and we're wearing those long dresses? I said, yeah, why not? It's minus 50 degrees from where I come, and we still ride bicycles. We don't ride them when it's minus 50, but we ride them when the season is right. And you have 6 months of very good season in Saudi Arabia, and you can ride bicycles in that season. Some countries, they say we're too steep, we're too hilly, and we go up and down. And I say, well, look at San Francisco. It's one of the hilliest areas or cities, and people still ride bicycles there. So it's about changing the cultures, changing the mindset of people around us. This is the too hot to call. This is San Francisco, by the way. So we have those challenges. What do we do about them? We need to conquer them. First of all, we all have to keep open mind. And I found lots of open-minded people in this project in Talant Towers that helped us actually improve on the efficiency and productivity of the office space. Seek education. Come to seminars like this, conferences, call people. There's education sessions that you can get online. Just be educated about sustainability and green buildings more and more. Green building councils, join the activities that they do, and my friend Aider here told me that there is one being established in Kazakhstan, right? And this makes me very happy because I did work on the foundation of founding one green building council in Jordan before and helped other green building councils excel their work before. Regional rating systems. We talked about North American and European culture a few minutes ago. There is an international table that everybody can participate in. Most of the meetings are held in different countries every time. And they try to develop rating systems that are suitable for all regions in the world. So Kazakhstan could also participate in that and be a part of that effort. We said money, our pockets are most important, but we think about our kids as well. We think about the future generations. We want to give them a good legacy that we leave behind. We should give them the planet in the same shape that we got it, if not better. So keep thinking about that. This is just how we hope the market would transform in Astana. And this is just to emphasize that new office spaces have to be in sustainable spaces with sustainable communities. I just can mention 2 quick case studies here because I think I'm running out of time. This is a project we did in Saudi Arabia. It was awarded a LEED silver rating certificate, and it has been proven it can save this much energy and this much water. The other one, of course, is a very famous building. We didn't do that, someone else did that. The Empire State renovation, greening of Empire State. This is how much the Empire State used to pay in utilities every year. They decided to spend $25 million on greening of the Empire State, changing the windows, the glass type, changing the HVAC system, cooling and heating system, and other systems. That cost was $25 million, and they were able to retrieve it in less than 3 years. Their return of investment was less than 3 years, and since then they've been saving about $4.4 million every year just on utility cost. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for listening. If anyone has a question, please.